Good morning or evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. So we're back. It's another Sunday here in Sydney, and we're back for another one of our Show Up, Speak Up guest interviews, which I've been absolutely loving the last couple of weeks. So please check out the previous interviews up on my feed and on YouTube. And every week we have a different speaker, a different guest expert in a variety of different fields, all in the health and wellness and business field. And today, who we've got coming on, I'm really excited. It's a lovely lady called Sarah. Now, Sarah is an embodied boundaries and strategic support mentor, which sounds awesome, doesn't it? And what Sarah does is she guides women to live better futures right now. So I'm really excited to talk to Sarah more about how we can embody the future versions of ourselves and talk more about what she does and how she helps her clients. So what I'm going to do is just invite Sarah into the chat and we can actually find out more about what she does. So just bear with me for a second as I add her in. And like I said, any questions, please reach out to me as we go. Or afterwards, up to you guys.
Hi, Hannah.
Perfect. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
No, I really appreciate your time and you know thinking that sparing some of your valuable time and expertise and knowledge today to probably help a lot of people with what you do. And what you do is very different to the other guests that I've had on before, which is why I'm really excited to talk to you. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
No problems.
So if you could just literally start and share kind of what you do and a bit of your story and a bit of the background, so we can kind of get a feel for who you are and why you do what you do, because everyone has a story.
That's very true. Thank you. So, yeah, I began my work as an entrepreneur in actually the cuddle industry. So I was having one-on-one cuddle sessions with men and women all over the world. And that got me really interested in people's inner worlds and how they really relate to their body as themselves and how they relate to other people. And through the cuddling industry, I was also able to learn about helping people process different issues of where they were at the moment and how to use the present moment to activate that thing that can only happen in the present moment, which is asking for what we want, which is such a gateway to having and creating the life that you desire. So through this work as a cuddlist, I was able to really realize that I loved that transformational process of opening people up to their bodies and opening people up to what it is they truly desire in this world. So with self-love and with lots of gentleness, I've been able to transition to support women and to be able to really help them notice what feelings are arising in their body in the present moment. Because what I notice as women a lot is that we sometimes outsource our choices and outsource our decisions. Like we'll ask our partner, what do you want for dinner tonight? Instead of really feeling the desire arise in the body and then verbalizing and sharing that. So this is what I help women to do, from anything to partnership to business to healthy lifestyle choices. So
Wow, that's awesome. And yeah, like you said, we're kind of bred in today's society to to see emotions as like a bad thing and want to get rid of them or want to fight or distract or ignore, push away. And I always kind of say emotions are like energy. So the more you do that, the more they're going to rise and rise and rise until it can often get too much, isn't it? And that's when these problems start to arising. So I love what you do in the fact that you actually get these women to tune back into themselves, because we often lose a part of ourselves, in the busy world that we're in, right?
Yes, self-abandonment is very
Mm,
common and it's something that I see. And if you are or have noticed yourself self-abandoning, it's not your fault. It's a product of society or
yeah.
possibly what you've had to do as a child to, be the rescuer for somebody else or help other people, and then considering yourself last place. But it really helped women to, yeah, put themselves like as the queen in their on their throne, and say, what would I like today? And how is me living from a full cup going to be able to help like all the people that I'm supporting around me, my partner, my children,
Mm,
my friends, my clients. So I'm really all about that. So yeah.
that's awesome. And a part of what you do is about boundary setting, right? Could you tell me a little bit more about setting boundaries, what appropriate boundaries are, kind of that whole topic area? I know that's something that you do quite a bit of.
Yeah, definitely. I love chatting about boundaries. So, and also hello to everyone that's joining us. It's lovely seeing your comments down there. So quickly, what I really like to do, because I know that some of your clients and people that you support sometimes have a challenge of feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And this overwhelm is also a product of being really busy and constantly stimulated in today's society. But I have a really quick tip and a really great hack to
Fab.
beat the overwhelm.
Love it. Go for it. Love it.
So, what I've realized is when I was able to be really clear with what I wanted and what I didn't want in my life, regarding partnership, regarding business, regarding finance, whatever, then it was really easy to make decisions in the moment because overwhelm, remember, is just a symptom of indecision.
Mm,
It's this kind of lack of self-trust and doubt that arises when we're questioning ourselves and we're questioning, is this really the right way? Should I do this or should I do this? So what I suggest to my clients that are having this kind of issue is taking a piece of paper and
yeah.
folding it in half. And on one side, sorry about the marker here, it says, what am I available for? So
Uh-huh.
this is your life force energy. So this is, what are you available for in your life? Are you available for people that waste your time? Are you available for sunny days? Are you available for rain in the morning? Like
Yeah.
somebody just commented, do you love that? So on the other side, what am I not available for? So
Uh-huh.
this is what you're a no to. So this is how we can create the internal dialogue. We spend some time journaling and looking at these lists, and boundaries are like our wardrobe. We have to revisit
Mhm.
them every couple months or every couple weeks, depending on
Yeah.
how quickly we're evolving. So when we have our list, we can actually, when somebody asks us a question, we know because we've internalized that list and we've been able to work with that, that no, sorry, that's like not what I'm available for anymore.
Yeah.
So your time doesn't get wasted in the little things like, are you available to reply to everyone's message? Or are you just prioritizing the messages of your closest friends or people that might be a client or what,
Mhm.
So it's about making decisions, but they start with having that clear moment with ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we can share that with the outer world in communication.
Oh, I love that. And I think that would really help with a lot of people if they're stuck in this black and white thinking. And actually, boundaries are more like a more appropriate form of rules for ourselves, right? Because I know rules can obviously sometimes have this negative perception. Whereas if you look at all these things as boundaries, it gives, like you said, it gives you that really clear line of the things which are important to you, the things that aren't, and what you can and can't do. And does that help with a bit of like permission, permission to maybe not do so much, or permission for yourself to, have a bit of a rest if you need it? Does it kind of help with that, have you found?
Definitely, because we can, if I write in this list right here that I'm available for self-care and, afternoon naps, then if I'm having an afternoon nap, I'm not going to feel guilty about that because I've let myself know that one of my
Yeah.
values is having self-care and having naps because that's how I recharge. When we
Mm.
recharge in our life, then we're able to receive. When we're able to receive more, then we can really tap into the flow of life and it can take us like a current instead of trying to always be, basically rowing upstream. Like, how many
Yeah.
times have you rowed upstream and like, or spinning your tires in the mud? Like, this is what example I use all the time with my clients. So it's so much easier when we actually do have that figured out. So we can save time, not getting our minds wrapped around indecision, and we can really know where we want to direct our energy. Boundaries are protecting our energy. Boundaries are protecting ourselves and our body. We are the front lines. Our communication is the front lines to how we want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a rule. It's like, how do you expect others to meet you? It's a contract. It's like an agreement. And they can agree to meet you there, or they can agree not to meet you there. And either way, it's fine, because you'll have that agreement with yourself anyways. You'll have that agreement with yourself regardless. Not everyone is going to be a match. So yeah, I could chat about it for ages.
So when someone's got that list, where would you then advise them to start when they've kind of got those boundaries set out, giving themselves permission to do and don't certain things? What would be next?
Great question. Yeah, I feel a bit caught off guard, but I'll roll with it. So once they have that, once they have that really internalized, and they know what they're committing to go forward and, spend their time on and not, then I think the next practice is definitely communicating it. Because it's like any skill, it's like sales, it's like having the conversation can bring up a lot of anxiety for people. Having the conversation to ask for what they want, or to set a boundary when they haven't used boundaries before in their life, can bring up anxiety.
Yeah.
It's important to realize that. And that's completely natural if it's bringing up the feeling of anxiety for you. If you're thinking about, how am I going to be able to ask for what I want? What if the person says no? What if I let my ex-partner know that I really don't want him sending me abusive texts anymore, and then he's not available to see the kids or something like that? Like, these things happen, right? But it's all about, carrying the message. We have to be the deliverers of our message. So having that clear communication and having it come from the body, because like, nobody else can do boundaries for you. You have to do them for yourself.
Yeah. And is that where the embodiment stuff comes in, is like connecting back within yourself?
Definitely. Like, if you say your boundary from a place of self-connectedness and power, even if somebody is a no to that, you still earn trust with yourself, and you still earn respect with the other person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it does take practice. I've heard people say boundaries, and I used to be like this too. You'd say a boundary and then you'd laugh because you weren't sure if you were supposed to say it that way, or you weren't sure if you were even worthy of having that boundary. But all practice is good practice. So keep asking and keep sharing and keep saying it, That's the only way we get better.
Yeah, practice definitely does make permanent. And I love that you say it does take practice, because I think a lot of the time we can expect things too quickly, and especially if we've been stuck in a certain way for such a long time. The whole process of change is a journey in itself, isn't it? That does
definitely
take practice. It's like you work on your body, and you practice sports, you practice other skills. Dealing with emotions and what's actually going on inside is also a practice. Is that how you see it as well?
Definitely. Yeah, it's a daily practice. It's a moment by moment practice. You never don't have a good opportunity to arrive at this place where you can decide what's best for me now, and what's best for me now.
Yeah, that's such a simple question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Overlooked, mostly overlooked.
Yeah, or how do I feel? Or what's the next step in what I want to create in this life? There's so many questions we can ask ourselves. And yeah, like, it's almost like how I help clients reframe their, mental thinking, so that they're not just pinballing off of person and opportunity and just acting in accordance with what everybody else wants, that they actually can tune into, that they actually can have this dialogue with their body, which they can sense as their intuition and their longings and their desires, and have those be the internal compass instead of other people.
Yeah.
Instead of always relying on other people to lead the way.
Yeah, I think what it sounds like is this is like the key building blocks to like confidence, integrity, building true self-worth, all of those real
Yeah.
core issues, which I'm all about overcoming core issues,
Yeah.
building things from the inside out and connecting to really who you are, your voice, that power. And
Yeah.
I feel very empowered by what you're saying, which is,
Thank you.
I can definitely feel, yeah, your passion for this and just how much you put into what you do. I can feel it even over technology.
Yeah, thanks. It's really something, and I will admit to your audience, it's taken me about 5 years to get it so that I can transmit this message, right?
Mm, yeah.
5 years, and counting, because I'm not going to stop with this journey. So this journey is all self-lived. This journey is self-taught. I had to arrive from a place of hiding and covering up my desires and covering up my self-worth and burying myself in what everybody else wanted, to really coming out and saying, well, it's okay to be seen. It's okay to ask for what I need.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have a question of when do
Yeah.
you not trust your intuition over your heart? That's a good one, Stacey. Or
Yeah, I love that question. I would ask, what feels right for you? Oh, sorry, I have some roses up here. I would ask, did you say your name's
Stacey.
Stacy? What feels right for you, Stacy? And I feel like the intuition is also supported by the heart, and the heart supported by the intuition.
Mm,
So it's not necessarily like we're saying yes to this one and no to this one. I mean, they can have different answers, but the key here is to, yeah, like the integrated parts, like have them work in harmony.
mm,
Like they all might carry a different piece. They all might carry a different piece of the message.
mm. Yeah.
So depending on, also if you have a specific question, I don't know if we can go into that or whatever, that came up as a result of this. Like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely reach out to Sarah, Stacey, if you have any
Thanks.
like some work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's true. Like there's sometimes no black and white. Same with our thinking,
Mm,
same with how we're feeling and trying to connect the dots. And yeah, sometimes there is an overlap, or often there is an overlap. And I think, like
hmm.
you said, it's building the skills to be able to be a bit more fluid in your thoughts and your feelings and those beliefs. And like that takes time, right? It takes time and it's a practice.
Exactly. I just realized something else I wanted to say about that, Stacey. I might have just said like trust your intuition and not mention trusting your heart. But what I also find, and I have to constantly remind women, is to why not both? I always love saying why not both? Why do we have to have one or the other?
Mm.
Like some things are pretty black and white. Like, you know, I don't want to eat shit for breakfast, but like, but why not both? Why can't we have both and? So
Yeah,
don't limit yourself. Use your intuition and your heart.
yeah,
So,
yeah. There's
yeah.
definitely an overlap. And how does this work in terms of business? Because you say you work with a lot of women in terms of business. We talked a lot about the personal stuff, but how do you apply this in like the
Hmm.
business world?
Exactly. So I love working with business owners and leaders in their field to help them really create the kind of the kind of design, like how they're sitting at the forefront of their business and they can get the contracts organized so that they can, feel like they are asking for what they are worth, like for what their time is worth. Because a couple weeks ago, actually, I was advising a client on, having a brand rep or somebody like that come in and have them do a little collaboration, kind of like what we're doing today. And just, saying, okay, well, you make sure you put in there what you're going to receive and make sure you
Mm,
put in there what she's going to receive so that everyone's happy. And also, well, it seems like what you're asking for, and this is something I go against constantly, women are asking for their wages too low.
yeah,
So whatever your wage is right now, whatever you're asking for, I would say just for any reason that I told you, increase your wage by 25%.
That feels
like
scary
because
for most, wouldn't it?
yeah, it feels scary. It feels scary. And also it's the new financial year. So in Australia, you're
Yeah.
totally aligned to do that, right? Anyway, it feels scary, but guess what? Unless people are complaining about what your wages, what your work is worth, like chances are it's too low. Women are already making across the world lower amounts than men.
Yeah.
And it's because we aren't comfortable with this aspect of ourselves. It's because we're not sitting with our worth as the highest part of ourself. We're sitting with that doubt as the highest part of ourselves. We're sitting
Yeah.
with those concerns and those fears about asking for too much because it's scary, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say ask. The worst somebody could say is no. If they don't meet you there, then perhaps you can have another negotiation. But ask and make it high, make it worth your time. This is your life force energy. You're not going to get these years back.
That's so
So,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, and
It's just
people will
having
respect you for that too.
mm, yeah, often the fears
Yeah.
that or the things that we think are going to happen, they're just fears. They're the what ifs, and then the reality is
Hmm.
often a lot different to the picture that we're projecting in our mind, right? But it's just having that
Definitely.
confidence and like knowing your worth, and that I guess that's all the work that you do. It's getting that woman
Mm,
into that place where they know what they're worthy of and know that they can do these amazing things. That's kind of
yeah,
the feel I get.
definitely. Yeah. I like some of my clients call me kind of like an instigator, but that's not the right word. So like activator. Like I'm an activator, so I'll go in there and we'll work together. And then they're like, "Wow! Like I didn't know I had this much potential. I didn't know I had this much opportunity." I'm like, "Yes, it's just really under the surface.
Yeah.
Like it's all about you meeting that.
Hmm.
It's not anything that you have to do. It's usually a couple little shifts and then
Yeah.
continued effort and support."
Hmm.
But it's literally just meeting yourself from that new place and
Mm.
believing that that's possible and honoring your truth, honoring your worth through
Hmm.
honoring your truth.
Definitely. And that's the same thing I say to everyone I work with is like, you have all the resources you need inside you to live
Yep.
this life. But sometimes you just need a little shift, like you said, or a little pointer in the right direction, tweak a few things, but they have everything they need. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
totally believe as well.
Yeah, and humans are incredibly resilient and
Yeah.
resourceful, and everyone has their own tools in their toolkit because of the journey that they've been on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and that those tools that they have in their toolkit are to support the journey that they're going to go on. And some of the tools, guess what, are rusty, and some of them are old, and some of them we have to throw out and update with a new
Hmm.
belief system, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to keep using crappy, rusty tools and they're not going to keep working. We'll be like, why do we keep, why does this tool not work? It's like, because it's old. You need to throw it out. We need to update
I
that.
love that analogy. That's a perfect explanation.
Thank you. Thanks.
Really said it. Perfect.
Yeah. And if I could really like just share anything too, like the thing that I really want to leave with people is this feeling of even when it's hard, about this trusting in your heart or in your intuition and your eternal truth, right? That this is the most important thing when you're connected to it, when you're connected to your truth and when you're connected to your expression, when you really shut that critical mind out
Mm.
and you really say stop to the self-doubt and don't judge yourself, put another layer of
Yeah.
shame and judgment on top of the fact that you're having self-doubt, you can really just flow with life. It's so easeful. It's so beautiful. It's like free. It's true liberation, really.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to get there, but I will tell you, it is so worth it.
Yeah, you can tell. You can absolutely tell. Absolutely. You can say it better. And that's the thing it is, and it is a feeling. It's not necessarily what you'll
Mm,
be thinking or doing or the people you're around.
yeah,
Something much deeper than that. And that's when you know that it's
exactly.
there. But that takes a
Mm,
while. But the best things in life can take a long time, right?
exactly. And nobody can exactly tell you how to do it either.
Yeah.
Like you will know and you will get it. It's like the thing about meditation, like where the places you find yourself in meditations, like it's like nobody can really instruct you. you will guide yourself in when you're ready to believe that you can trust yourself and live from a different place.
Mm.
And somebody will see it's possible before you believe it's possible, and
Yeah.
that will give you the inspiration and that light to chase, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's nothing that anybody can give you or take away from you once you've got it either.
Yeah.
So it's really worth it. It's a lifelong pursuit, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, it definitely is. So is there actually anything that you've got at the moment, anything you're offering, or anything that if someone, you know, wanted to find out a bit more about what you do, like where would they go to find you?
Great. Thanks for asking. So, I actually have a couple of options. So, I have a free Facebook group. So, if you find me on Facebook, Sarah Alexander, or even on Instagram, I can create a link to it after this interview. I'll do that.
Cool.
I'll just write it down so I don't forget.
I'll share everything as well so people can.
Yeah,
Be nice.
amazing. Yeah, beautiful. So that's for free resources for women. And I share a lot of value in there. And I have the 3 keys to confidence, which is a masterclass I did a couple weeks ago. And then also I have a new program coming out called Empowered Worth.
Ooh.
So yeah, this is a really exciting, it literally just came through last night. So it's about helping women connect to healthy boundary setting and discovering our epic worth, and also expression of the voice and expression of the self, that full body, finding your essence and living your essence. And also finding grace and flow for the feminine within the safe holding and the structures of your own inner masculine.
Ooh,
so creating these structures, creating the structures so you know when you can work and you know when you can relax, and also that you have this strong spine and this presence and this aliveness. And the inner masculine looks after the inner feminine. So less worry, less self-doubt, and less, more.
That sounds
more
amazing.
inner harmony. Yeah, thank you. So you can connect to that one.
I will. I'll share your links and everything so people can know exactly where to find you and get all those amazing things. But I've taken up way too much of your time already. But I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're all good.
But yeah, it was amazing to hear a very different perspective on life and business and everything. So thank you. Appreciate
No worries. Happy to anytime.
We'll stay connected. And like I said, if anyone's got any questions, I'll point them in your direction for sure.
Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, everyone.
Great.
What a beautiful morning. See ya. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.